This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.
First off, let's talk to you about a hot topic right now. Colin Cowherd has came on his show and said that CJ Stroud will be nowhere near Dak Prescott's level because he did not face the same adversity as Dak. Paul Gallant and Cole Thompson both Twitter clapped him on Twitter, along with some others. Ron, I'll start with you. You're in that line of work. What do you think of this? I mean, is he speaking out of his ass, or is this what do you think?
I don't think he's speaking out of his ass. Now, he doesn't know. I mean, if it's strictly on the Dak Prescott thing, like, man, hey, if CJ Stroud's going to be Dak Prescott, that's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, Dak Prescott is a guy that is consistently in the playoffs and gives his chance somewhat of a team to win, his team a chance somewhat of a way to win. Now, you got to build a lot more around him, but I mean, there are a lot of guys that have been drafted in the first round that wasn't Dak Prescott, a guy that got a second contract. So I don't think it's that wild. The part I have issue with Colin is the Ohio State bullcrap. That's garbage. Like the whole deal of because he wore an Ohio State Buckeye jersey and there hasn't been success in the league with Ohio State quarterbacks outside of the second half of Justin Fields' season last year. That's silly to me. I can't get with that. I can even understand if you say Ryan Day stuff. But hell, there are quarterbacks in the 1970s that play for Ohio State. What the hell does that have to do with him? But the Dak thing, I don't think that's crazy to say, you know what? I look at CJ Stroud, and if you had to make me guess, would he be good as Dak Prescott? I think Texans fans hope he better. He should. You hope he does. Where you drafted him, he should be. But I don't think it's crazy to say that, all right, man, I don't know if he's going to be as good as Dak because Dak is a good quarterback in the league.
Especially his rookie year, right? I mean, Dak's rookie year is probably arguably one of his best years. So, I mean, if we get the same production out of CJ Dak did his rookie year, I'll be okay with it. I mean, that helps us with what, 6-7 games easily. So, I mean, I'm down with that. BT, what about you?
So I think that he started out with a little bit of a point and then completely failed to land the plane. And I think that's honestly, he's just lazy. And let me explain. So he went off by saying that the reason why Dak was able to be successful is because he dealt with adversity, him being a late round pick, and then was able to go to a situation in Dallas where they weren't picking first or second overall when they got him. So they were a better squad. You know, they had a solid defense, had weapons around him, had a decent coach already set up. Well, not a rookie coach, etc. That part, like that all makes sense. That's actually logical and factual. But he went on to say that CJ Stroud has never dealt with adversity. Now, I know that CJ Stroud had a top O-line. He had some of the best wide receivers in college. But the guy didn't have his father around him. His father was in jail. He was almost homeless. JSN's father and parents had to go out and buy him stuff so he could continue to play. To say this guy did not deal with that adversity is ridiculous. Now let's focus back on Ohio State football. Quinn Ewers was going to take his job. There was a lot of other people that they brought in to take his job, and he won it every single time. That's not adversity. So in his personal life, in his football life, in his lifestyle at home, he's been through adversity. I understand he's been in a great situation at Ohio State, but I feel like he could have taken 30 seconds and just researched this before he opened his mouth, and he would have made a much better point. A shout out to Paul Gallant and Cole Thompson for setting him in his place. I don't know if you saw those tweets, but they were definitely on CJ's back because they were right. Like, how do you just completely avoid the fact that the adversity that he had to deal with was way more than anything that Dak had to deal with when it comes to actual personal life? Like, that's just lazy reporting, if you ask me. Way lazy.
Kershaw, I see you over there about kind of like licking your chops. You got something to say? Well, what's your thoughts on it?
No, it just when VT was talking about the fathers and all that. That just basically my whole entire hood where I came from. So that happens all the time right there. But I mean, Colin, Colin being Colin, a lot of the shit he said was right because Ohio State quarterbacks haven't been good in the league. So hopefully Coleridge, CJ, for those don't know his real name, be the outlier here, and show that, hey, I'm gonna be the guy to set the tone. That's the reason why last year me and VT had a debate about CJ and Bryce Young. And I wanted Bryce Young because of that. He faced adversity. He faced better teams, but everybody was afraid of his size. But I was like, well, shit, his size is small, but no pause. His size is small, but I feel like he's going to come in day one and command everything. But we got CJ now, so I'm okay with that. But it just, like I say, Colin being Colin, like I said, I don't really see nothing he said was wrong. I think he was right about most of the stuff, maybe 90% of the stuff. That might be a hot take right there.
Yeah, I love the passion from you, VT, but I think we want to separate some things here, right? Like if you're talking about off the field adversity, I don't think that's what Colin was talking about. I think Colin is talking about that dude was at Mississippi State, and he was the one dragging that team in his senior year, his last year there. They drug that team where they were a top 10 team in the middle, pretty deep into that season. He didn't have any other extra NFL skill position guys or other guys that are in the league that can help him compared to, yes, he had a battle with Quinn Ewers, or however the hell you say that cat's name, who's about to lose his job to Little Manning. But he had a battle with him. But, I mean, he's been the quarterback for 2 years with a team that's had a great offensive line, that's had the best wide receivers in college football, as we're seeing them sprinkled all over the league. Since that LSU Joe Burrow team, we hadn't seen that amount of receivers on one team. And he gets to the league, and it's Davis Mills in his way. He's going to get the job. He's the number 2 overall pick. He don't got to fight and really battle for his job. When Dak got to the Cowboys, there was no thought that he was going to be the starter. That was Tony Romo's job. He got the job due to injury. So their path of adversity is not really comparable. Like when you say the homework, like if you want to say the off the field stuff, okay, I can give you that. Although Dak will then chime in and say, I've been dealing with my mother who had cancer and who passed away on me. That's a different set of adversity as well. Right. Not to say anything different there, but anyway, to go to on the field, like their paths to the NFL were completely different than what they dealt with in college. And I think that's what Colin is talking about there in terms of adversity.
All right. I mean, now that you break it down, that makes more sense. And I mean, you're right. Prescott did fight for his life come to football. Even at you're right, Mississippi State didn't do nothing to help that man at all. So it was crazy to see how successful he was there in Mississippi State.
And also getting drafted to Dallas, that's a lot of adversity because if you don't show up there, they're going to boo the hell out of you. And once Romo got hurt, he came in, they went on that run. I think the guy didn't throw an interception for like 7-8 games. He had a wonderful rookie year. So I like that. I think top 10 quarterback, man. I like him.
Listen, I like Dak a lot. I think his rookie year is fantastic. We were actually debating this in one of the chats. Like, some people call Dak mid, and some people think that Dak is actually a good quarterback. I personally think that Dak's a good quarterback, but he's being held back by play calling. McCarthy making up, having these stupid play calls back to back when they're going in the playoffs and making these stupid things. Let's put Zeke at center. Let's call this play when you have 4 seconds left. I mean, I don't put it all on Dak. I think a lot of it has to do with the play calling, but I do think Dak is very talented, and I do think that if CJ Stroud becomes Dak like his rookie year, I think most fans would be very happy. What really kind of pissed me off though is I understand there's a difference between on the field and off the field stuff, but the other thing is that he's talking like you said, Ron, about the whole thing where just because you come from Ohio State doesn't mean that you can't be successful. I mean, look at, Josh Allen in Wisconsin, Texas Tech and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if we go down the list, you can see how many quarterbacks you would never think that, good quarterbacks don't come from here. And you've got 2 of the top quarterbacks coming from schools that no one ever thought that would ever make it in the league, let alone be a top 5 quarterback. So I think that overall, whether it's you could say that, yeah, he wanted to separate the on-field with the off-field stuff, but even just talking about the way you're looking at schools, that's lazy. You evaluate quarterbacks for who they are, because once you're on a team, you play the schedule you play with the line and the receivers that you have, right? You can't say just because this dude is from this school, he's either going to be successful or failure. That to me is lazy.
Yeah,
but like you said, Ohio State has all the best talent in that conferences out of Michigan, so you can say that. And then
why don't you say that about Joe Burrow?
But Joe Burrow, he didn't play a snap there in Ohio State though.
No, I'm talking about Joe Burrow when he had all the receivers, right? He had
but he was an SEC though.
I'm simply saying that if you are going to call out CJ for having an awesome roster, you got to say the same thing about Joe Burrow, and no one does. You only call out Ohio State. I mean, not you personally, but people only call Ohio State over and over and over again.
It's just because they haven't had a successful quarterback yet. And another thing too, Patrick Mahomes, he went to Kansas City. Andy Reid, great offensive mind. Your boy went to Buffalo. What's the coach in New York right now? Who's
Brian Daboll?
Yeah. So CJ's here. He got a rookie coach defense. Then he got a rookie OC. We don't know nothing about this guy, so of course you're gonna say that. Now, if we had Andy Reid here with CJ, I don't think Colin would say the things he said, because you know for a fact, this guy's gonna be good.
Ron, what are you thinking?
No, I just for me, and that's why I started off the statement that the Ohio State portion. When anyone brings that up, that is not one that I can roll with. I understand Ryan. The thought behind is Ryan Day's offense is he has such control of the offense that he's making so many calls for quarterbacks that they don't have to do a whole lot. That's one thing. But they even move it past Ryan Day, and they move it through John Cooper in the 90s and other guys and when Woody Hayes and stuff like that. They move it to that, and that is silly to me. Like, to your point, Crenshaw, Patrick Mahomes, I watch him every day. I don't give a damn if he went to the Bengals, if he went to the Jets, to the Lions. That dude was going to be good.
Now we can't say that. We can't listen, I'm not going to say Andy didn't play a big part of it. I'm just saying that they wouldn't have, because before Mahomes, there were no successful Big 12 quarterbacks. It wasn't just Texas Tech; it was Big 12 quarterbacks. He would have broken that mode. But yeah, I am more in line of, hey, let's let like certain dudes just have it and don't have it, and let's judge them by that.
You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.